You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, ladies! Polished women! Good afternoon. It's nice to see you once again. And today is a very, very special episode because these women are a big part of my life for 2 decades. Friendship.
That's right.
It's very hard to have, like a full friendship without any trial, obstacle. It's very hard. But we will share with you what we've been through over the past, 20 years, 2 decades, and we're gonna talk about everything today, right, Max? Okay, so our topic is overcoming obstacles, which is we already know. We all go through a lot, and we want to share every single thing that happened in our lives, and I hope that you will learn something from this. So when facing challenging situations, it's natural to turn to friends for help. Today on Polished Woman, we will be talking about overcoming obstacles in life with my friends for over 2 decades now. So today I am joined. Let me introduce my friends. On my right is Sheila. On my left is Jessica. We have the same name. And Faith. And of course, Sam.
I'm the most polished woman.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start from you, Sam. Because since we're talking about obstacles, what is the hardest obstacle that you've had in your life?
Well, there were so many, but I think what I can remember is what I went through when I got divorced.
Okay,
When
so
I
this
got
is good.
separated from
So
my-
for women who are divorced, listen to this.
Yes, because it was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Although I had friends whom I called family in
Yeah.
New York, it was still harder because you don't have that full family support.
Yes.
And true friends, yes, you need full support from them.
Yes, of
So,
course.
yes, that.
So what
it was.
about your divorce was, hard? I mean, do you want to explain to them what happened? For someone who's actually trying to think of divorcing their spouses or who have been through divorce, what kind of situation were you in?
Well, before I married him, I really thought that was, when you marry a man, first of all,
It's about love.
You'll think of this is the man I want to grow old with.
Mhm.
So you don't think of divorce.
Yes.
And I got married in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a prenup.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in love, you don't even think of how much money you're gonna be getting
Yes,
after you
of
divorce.
course.
You don't think of that. You're
Yes,
so
of
full of
course.
love. You're excited to get
Yes.
married. So,
Yeah.
amount, money, dollars, whatever numbers in there, you don't care.
Yeah.
It's more about you just so excited to get married, and it doesn't matter. You signed the prenup, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was as other marriage, and we came from two different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the Philippines, he's
Mhm.
from Europe, he's British.
Okay.
And that alone was kind of complicated to
Okay.
start. I didn't have my family with me, and he has that culture of being scared to go travel all the way to Asia.
Okay.
And the
So you guys
most
never
important
traveled,
So you
issue.
didn't become united in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really great, amazing, wonderful, awesome 7 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was no regrets.
Okay.
But since we're talking about it, it was the intimacy. I wouldn't say it was the age gap
Uh-huh.
problem.
So he was older, by the way.
Much
Yeah.
older than me,
Mhm.
yeah. It was the intimacy.
Okay.
I would say. I didn't know that he didn't want to have children.
Mm-hmm.
All I thought, we were taught that
Okay.
when you get married, family.
You'll have
You
family,
don't
you'll
need to
have
talk about it. You'll have
children,
children. You have
Yeah.
So that's a given,
Okay.
and it wasn't what happened.
Okay.
And it took me a while,
Okay.
because there was this fear, I submitted myself already as a wife.
Uh-huh.
And being in a most diversified city in the whole world,
Yes.
even though you have friends with
Yes.
you, it's still hard when you're already have that lifestyle of being a wife. So make the long story short, it took me 2.5 years to have that strength and
To make a decision.
to make a decision.
Okay.
And one night,
You
it
just-
involved my daughter's
Yeah.
issue,
Okay.
having her being in New York with us.
Okay.
And that kind of, I could take anything, any challenge if it involves me, myself. But when
But if
it
it
involves
involves
my
the children,
family,
yes.
I
Right,
only have
right.
one
It's
daughter.
difficult.
Yeah.
It involves my
This
daughter
is not,
and my friends.
This is not his daughter, by the way. This is your daughter from a previous, from a previous
Yeah.
relationship.
So when
yeah.
it involves someone you love,
Mhm.
then it kind of makes
It's more difficult.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
that gave me strength to just, you know what, this is not the situation anymore that I would.
When you know,
love
you
to
know.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you know,
Alright.
you know, and
Then you find the
especially
strength.
when you have God just with you,
Mhm.
He tells you, and
Okay.
I just packed. I was on my way to work. I packed like my suitcase, didn't even know, and I just had that strength because I tried it twice before,
Okay.
but then I just checked in the hotel
Yeah.
using his credit card. What did I know then? I came to New York. Hey, at that time, we only use cash in the Philippines. First time I've used credit card when I was in New York. We don't use credit cards.
Yeah.
So, I had to establish everything. So I was using his credit card. But yeah, that was a failure 2 times because,
Okay.
of course, he figured out where I was.
Okay.
And then that 3rd time, that was it.
All right.
And I never went back. And it took 2 years, for almost 2 years, for him to finally sign the papers.
Okay.
This happened. I left in 2013,
Mhm.
and we got divorced in 2015.
All right. We'll go back to that because after
Yeah.
divorce, something happened. So I'll ask you that question. Faith, how about you?
Obstacles.
Yeah.
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny.
Sorry.
Let me just pick out of the hat. Okay, so seriously though, but
Yeah.
when it comes to something that I almost did not survive,
Yeah.
it really boils down to I was able to survive. Obviously, I'm here about to have a drink with you
Yeah.
girls. But the one that really broke me, where I thought I was not going to make it back, on my feet, was when I compromised my values.
Okay.
Because I came from a very conservative but
Yeah.
open family.
Yes.
My growing up in the United States, but having a very old-fashioned Filipino Catholic family that I grew up into. It was really about just loving everybody,
yeah,
loving, and
yeah.
just promoting that, not just within our family, but around us with people that would come into our lives and vice versa.
By the
So-
way, if you've watched The Crazy Rich Asian, this is her story.
That's
Yeah.
right. Present.
Yeah. This is like a true to life Crazy Rich
Right.
Asian
Yes.
story. Yes.
So if you have seen Crazy Rich Asians,
Yeah.
that would be my
Story.
fun
Exact
version
same
story.
of my
Yeah.
story.
Right.
That would be
Although
the
it
fun
did not
version.
end up
That
The
way
way it
with, a
wasn't a
happy,
happy
with a happy
ending.
ending. Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason. So,
It's all right.
where I am now in my life, sitting here, as strong as I have come from death, and I don't have any regrets. That's the one thing I do regret is that I allowed myself to compromise my values. But there is no there's no instruction book, to how you're supposed to live life and the obstacles that you face, right? Nobody hands you a book. Oh, here you go, anak. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, here it is. Now, thank you, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so what
but you're not
happened?
born into
Yeah.
having a instruction book to life.
Yeah.
So what happened with that? I really went a little nuts. I
Yeah.
mean, that's plain and simple. That's the easiest way to explain it. I really was
Yeah.
kind of cuckoo.
Not a
And-
little though.
No, I know, but no, I mean, I think we've all been there, right?
Right.
We've all been at that
Cuckoo.
point where we know what's right and wrong,
Yeah.
except that we're kind of in the middle of this valley of
Valley,
death
yeah.
that we're trying to protect people that we love,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're compromising who we are really,
Yeah.
our makeup,
Yeah.
our blueprint, how we were supposed to be as human beings. And when that hit me, I mean, it felt like I fell off the face of the earth. It really
Yeah.
did. And I thought, oh my gosh, sorry, I didn't mean to be all stuttery now.
Yeah.
But you know, it was very devastating for me because I had a little boy to think of, and the moment that he was born and his face touched mine, that was my promise, was to continue the values and legacy that my parents instilled in me. And somehow, through the years, the process, it got messed up in my head because I was trying to protect my then husband. So I'm a divorcee as well. So my then husband, who actually was a very good man, except the cultural differences. He's Asian, but not Filipino Asian. So not, you know, trying to make other Asian cultures, but it's just, I think as a whole,
Yeah.
the human society puts
Yes. And we have that in Asia. I'm sure
Right.
every Asian know.
right. I mean,
know about
every
that.
culture
Yeah.
has
Every
their
culture
way,
has their
right?
way.
Has
Yeah.
their way. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Mhm.
But the problem is, it's society, I feel like, that feeds us those
Yes,
things that we
yes.
have to conform to, not normal
Mhm.
rules of love, which there's no rules.
Yeah.
Love is love,
Yeah.
right? Whether black, white, Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, whatever it is.
Yeah.
No discrimination.
No discrimination at all. I mean, this is what we were here to do, to promote while we're
Yes.
alive, is
Yes.
to love and serve and just continue, because when we die, somebody else is being born,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
if we don't practice these things, then it'll never change. I mean, look
Yeah.
at where we are today, and we're still facing so many horrible obstacles
Yes.
in that sense.
Yes.
So thankfully, with the help of friends and
Yes.
family, I was
That's how
able
important
to
friends are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
friends and family. I was
Be
able to
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
dust
Yeah.
that stuff off, like get off me,
No man is
get
an
off me.
island.
Yeah.
Right.
And stood up and
Yeah.
I said, all right, you know,
Yeah.
it's not like
I
this.
will, get back to that whole problem. So
Yes.
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing. How about
Of course,
you, Jess?
thank you.
Aw.
Well, where do I begin? When I was single, when I was growing up,
We're bad.
yeah, we were all party people.
We were all actually.
I was a party girl, but they were bad. Maybe I should have been.
Yeah, so I felt very empty deep inside, and I felt that there was a void that I needed to fill. And so I tried to fill that with temporary things.
Yes.
Like with being in a relationship that was not supposed to be that was not healthy. Like I was in an adulterous relationship, and I would party hard and not sleep, and just I was into drugs,
Yeah.
right? And
We were all
we
actually.
were all-
Yeah.
But I think amongst all of you, I think I was the worst of all,
Yeah.
because I could take anything because I'm, you know. But like I would really take everything in, and to the point that my family was so concerned because they saw the change in me. Like, where's the Jessica that we knew, right? Because I was raised to be a very Catholic woman, and with good foundations and moral values. So.
Yes.
She sings in the church. by
Yes,
the
I
way.
sing in church.
she sings in
Yes,
church,
in
yeah.
Catholic church.
Party
so
girl turned
at
nun.
the same
Yeah.
time that she wasn't doing drugs.
And she belongs to a family, to a parent
Yeah.
who's been married for like, wow.
Yeah.
They just celebrated their
25
gold.
years.
52
Yeah.
52 years.
Because my
Yeah.
parents are 53.
Yeah.
Right. So my parents
right.
are very much in love with each other, and I have 4 beautiful sisters.
That's me.
One of them is here.
Yeah, us too, by the way.
We are the adopted.
We're all adopted. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just trying to fill that void with temporary things.
Right.
And to the point that I was sent by my family to rehabilitation, drug rehab.
Yeah.
So that was one of my darkest, if not my darkest point in my life, because all of a sudden I felt so ashamed and so alone. And that was the point in life when I said, God, you have to show up in my life. I'm sure there's something more than this. Can you help me? So he showed up and he said, you just have to surrender to me and give your life and everything. I'm not promising you a life of roses, but with me you will overcome these
Amen.
obstacles.
Yeah. Amen.
So I I started praying again and reading the Bible, and I think you were also Christian by then, and you
Yeah.
were trying to influence me, right?
Yes.
I was trying, yeah.
Yeah, because you were first. And after that, when I finally surrendered to the Lord and said, take over my life because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Wow.
Like I've been partying hard for 3 days and all these drugs and
It's
all
a
these.
routine.
It was a routine and there was nothing there for me. So
It made us cry actually the next day. Like you're party hard, and then after you stop
Yeah.
partying,
Right,
you cry.
right.
You get so
You
emotional.
crash. Because you're so
Yeah.
empty.
You're so empty.
So because
yeah.
all of us, like all women, we just want to be happy and
Yeah.
loved.
Loved.
Yeah.
And we want to have a family and we want to have children. So that was really my dream. And so when I finally said, Lord, take over my life, and so He did, and I tried walking the right path. It's hard. It's never easy, but with friends who pray for you, with family, and with the right guidance, you'll be able to make it. And as long as you know that the only person who can really complete you is Jesus, God.
Yes.
Then once that happens, then everything else will just fall into place. So now I'm happily married.
Yeah. And we will discuss later how she got married, how she got the guy,
Yes.
because this is this is an amazing story. And I've
Yeah.
been actually advising like single women do this, and I'm like, no, that's hard not to have sex, but she'll explain later, right? Anyway, thank you so much
you're
for
welcome.
sharing. I know we've been through a lot.
Yes.
How about you, my baby?
I'm the
The baby.
Okay, honestly, Jessica, when you gave that,
Perfect marriage.
yeah,
It's
when you
okay.
gave that question,
Okay, she's
Yeah.
been through a lot.
I was
Oh,
a bit
sissy.
afraid that you would ask that question. I had no expectations. I thought it was a marriage thing. But when you gave that question, while all of you were talking, I was just thinking, God gave me everything I ever asked for in life. I wasn't engaged to my husband yet. We were just dating. He was studying. He was in law school. And I remember he was studying for the exams, and I was just jumping on the bed. I was bugging him. I said, so you're taking the bar, and one day you're going to be a lawyer, so we're going to get married right away and want to have 5 kids. I was only 21 years old. That was just 5 years ago, by the way. And I just...
Baby every year.
And he just looked at me. He was studying seriously, and he looked at me and he said, are you crazy? 5 kids, and how do you plan to feed them? And I said, I don't know, that's your job, but I just want to be a mom. And by the way, if you don't want 5 kids, it doesn't have to be you. I'm going to find someone else. I said I want 5 kids. Fast forward, God gave me 5 kids. And the question, how are we supposed to feed our children? God gave us the business too and more. And when
Very
we were
successful.
starting, when we started, we didn't have money, nothing, and we worked our way up. And
now she's the crazy rich Asian.
A really good version though.
As we were
good
struggling our
version.
way up, I even told God, we need to move to a bigger townhouse. I just wanted a townhouse. And then, lo and behold, a few weeks after, my father-in-law called, said, and why don't you move into the house? And he gave the house to my husband. It was like a
Amen.
5-bedroom, huge house. I said, God, this is so overwhelming. Everything I ever dreamed for in life, a business, a husband, 5 kids, everything. And then he took something that was so important to me that meant my life, because I lost my son. He's 20 years old. I lost him just last April. It's been 9 months. And it's not just losing a child. I lost him to depression. A sickness I was not even aware of. Growing up, I was so close to God, and I've served Him all my life.
You did.
So of
She did.
course you get so angry. Why? There are people out there who rape children. There are people who steal, who kill. You choose to do this to me. Why? I struggled so much with my faith. And people tell me every day, Sheila, you're doing well. You're so strong. It's amazing. But I can't tell people this, but the truth is, I'm not strong. You just don't have a choice.
Yes.
You have to live day by day and be strong because you have a husband that's left behind, a very lost husband. I have 4 children that are so lost. And growing up, I raised my children to be so close to each other because you're thinking one day you're gonna die. You'll be leaving your kids. And I want my children to take care of each other. But because they're so close and I lost my son, all my other children are devastated. And I always tell God, had I known you were going to take my son, I shouldn't have raised them to be close. I shouldn't have done that anymore because they're just so lost.
Yeah.
She basically is saying every day you would just wake up and say, "Fuck you, world." That's the truth,
Yeah,
really.
exactly. And just to share, losing a child
Losing
is
a child.
not the most painful part. It's continuing to live without him. How am I supposed to live with my child? You don't bury a child. This is not the norm. Children bury their parents. It's not a normal part of life. And I always question God, why didn't you show me he was sick? Every day he was pretending to be happy. I had no inkling. And then just one day I see he's gone and there's just a gun lying down. And just so you know, in case, because people always question, why does he even have a gun? Such irresponsible parents.
No.
Just so everybody
Yeah.
knows, my son was one of the greatest
Yes.
shooters in the Philippines.
Yes.
He was part of the Philippine
Yes.
shooting team. He was competing with Prince in Dubai. He would get
Yes.
invited. He competed in the world competition in Italy. He had talent. He really was so good.
Yes.
And the deal was, when he started at a very young age, he was never supposed to bring the gun home. The cleaning is always done in the range. But that day when we checked the CCTV camera, he passed by the range and brought the gun home without us knowing. We just didn't know. That's what happened. So the good news is I'm back with God. That's
Amen.
just what's the most
Amen.
important
Amen.
part. It's still a struggle. I've been fasting and praying for 5 months. I lost 22 pounds, giving up a lot of things. Food that I'm so addicted to, I'm praying and fasting. Just to cut it short now, to share with everybody, what is God telling me now? He's telling me to endure today and trust Him for tomorrow.
Amen.
Aw.
My God.
It's painful, but I'm
I
going to
know.
do what He's asking me to do, hoping that there's something greater coming out of this.
I have a question for you. There's like this thing that we've heard, right? That when someone dies or when someone takes their life away, well, how do you say that? Like if someone takes their life away from them, it means that there was a problem, right?
Yes.
So
Mental problem.
so people don't really want to die,
Yes.
right? We don't all
That's
want to
right,
die,
that's
but
right.
but if if you do this, if you kill yourself, you want
There's a pain.
there's
There's pain
a
inside.
pain
They think
you
that
want
would
to
be
end.
the
What do
the
you
cure.
think?
The
What do
cure
you
of-
think? What do you think that pain was? Did you have any idea?
Okay, 2 weeks before he passed on, we had a family trip. That's why sometimes I feel maybe God also prepared us, because that trip was a last-minute trip. We had no plans. So we decided to go to Japan. We went to Niseko. We were so happy. As a matter of fact, on our way home, we were in the plane. I even told my husband, I said, babe, you know what? We are so blessed. We have to keep thanking God. We've taken our children to Europe, South Africa. We've traveled the world. But this is by far the best trip of my life. And then my husband even teased me, you're so overreacting. This is just Japan. It's not like it's your first time. I said, it's not the place, the bonding. And you know how children are. They're so into their gadgets.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I never saw my children with their gadgets.
Wow.
Never. We were just so busy with snowmobile skiing. We were so full of schedule, and
were
my husband
present, everyone.
rented a glass house. So every night, it was just so beautiful. Every night we would have board games.
Aw.
We were buzzed every night. As a matter of fact, Jess, there was one time I was just watching my whole family. It's like you grow
Yeah,
up
I
and you're
know.
watching
I
movies.
know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see movies where families are throwing pillows, they're so
Yes.
happy.
Yeah.
It
And
did
I told
happen.
myself, I used to
This
watch
is
this
like
in
the
the
movies. Yeah.
But in the movie, they were just pretending to be happy. This
Yeah,
is
it's like
real.
real.
You felt
It's
it.
real.
I
Real, yeah.
thank God, God, I've dreamt of this
Wow.
family all my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
The 5 kids.
Now, fast forward, I didn't even know. When he passed on, his friends were telling me, at the time where I felt we were so happy, my son was texting his friends, I'm so depressed. I want to go home. I hope to see you guys. I really want to go. And I told his friends, I did not see that coming. He was so happy. He was even the one reminding his mom, there's no more beer, and we're gonna play again tonight. We're gonna cheat on dad in the board game. Like, yeah, we're gonna buy wine. We're gonna buy pizza. He was so happy. And I'm talking now to doctors. I'm working with a neuroscientist, a counselor, a psychologist. I'm working with different doctors because I want to study depression.
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to know what he
Go
felt.
deep.
I
Yeah.
want to
protect my other children.
Right.
And now all doctors are saying the best liars are depressed people. Because they cover themselves.
They have the facade.
Yes, they
Yeah.
pretend to be happy.
I lived that for 2 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
They
I had to
pretend.
lie to everyone to protect my facade
I
of
witnessed
my
that.
happy marriage.
I witnessed that.
And to pretend to be happy is not how sad people would pretend. No, the way depressed people pretend is really so much effort. It's really it's very
That they
tiring.
get tired of it.
Yeah, that when they come home, they're just really
pretending.
all guards down. They're just so tired. It's all dark.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, you get
so
very
easy.
confused in your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Depression has no.
It's-
You're not. No one
it's
is
a
immune
broad-
to it.
Yeah, it's crazy, guys, that we always talk to our kids. We have that one-on-one, like,
Right.
we always
How was
nurture
your day?
them.
Yeah.
How was your day? You ask
Right.
them, but sometimes, how can
It's
you?
us.
You can't read their mind. We're not God. You can't.
Right.
You don't know what they feel. But even then, even if she's like an amazing mother who's
Yeah.
always there for her
Amazing.
kids,
Amazing.
very hands-on, and yet she didn't.
Yet still happen.
Yeah, and yet it still happens. So it's crazy, huh? This whole
Depression
the
thing,
whole
yeah.
depression thing. But I'm gonna ask you more about this, and I think there will be a legacy here that you have to continue.
Yes, of
that
mentoring.
Definitely.
torch.
helping a lot
Definitely.
of mothers,
Yes.
parents.
We started an organization. It's called YOLO. You Only Live Once.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
for stigma, for suicide awareness. We want to remove the stigma.
Mental
We want
illness.
children to start talking about it.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong. You want to see a
Yes.
doctor? Who cares? It doesn't mean you're
That's
crazy.
correct.
That's amazing,
So
sis.
what?
Yeah.
That's
Because
great.
in the
Yes.
Philippines, we
Yes.
have this
Stigma.
big
Stigma.
stigma of like, oh,
And
you're
someone-
mentally ill. Oh, you're
something's wrong
crazy.
with
Yeah,
you.
oh, you talk
They
to a
just like-
doctor, there's something wrong with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Concluded as like,
cares?
you're crazy, but it's
Right.
not.
It's not.
Awareness. That's
Yes,
that's
we're
Awareness.
working
really good,
towards
yeah.
that now.
So do we have time?
5 minutes.
5
Only?
minutes. Oh my god. Okay, just a quick. What have you learned from? Just before I ask you guys question, now that you guys are both
Pause real quick. What's yours?
Yeah, what's
Yeah. He doesn't mean you're the host.
Oh, that's a lot. Oh my god.
No one is immune
No
to the
one-
question.
Well, they already know.
She needs a tissue.
She doesn't need a hat of obstacles. She needs like
Hey,
an entire
I already
suitcase.
know.
But give her the bottle.
I know.
You have
Just
to-
one.
Well, I had, I did
Do
this
it.
show, and I think so. And later on, I'll explain more my advice. I had this show because of all the experiences in my life, and I think this is what's happening. We all have a purpose in our lives, and these trials and tribulations that came in our lives are the ones that I'm using now to advise you guys. So I'm not a book smart person, but I can advise you because I had all experience. So anyway, I think you've all known, you've seen my podcast. I think the worst one, I think, okay, there's a lot of them. I think the worst one is my anxiety. It's one thing that it's
same.
hard. Like how when something happens to you, when a big problem happens to you, you can see hope. You can see, you can see what do you call it, the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right.
But with anxiety, I feel like I'm
Dark.
sure
It's
your
very
son,
dark.
It's very dark, yeah.
I'm sure Renzo felt this. It's very dark. It felt you can't resolve it until you really just. I pray. I just actually had
Yes.
my anxiety like 3 weeks ago. I don't know why. Maybe because I was missing my dad, still grieving from my dad, and or maybe because I'm 50 or
You are the hottest
I'm
50.
getting older,
I know.
and or I don't know, or my son is finally leaving my house and going on his own. So I really don't know, but it's like this whole thoughts of unknown thoughts that's
unknown
going
of the
through your
future.
mind, and it's very hard. And I was just because I'm worried about her, which I will ask later. There was a time, and I was sharing this with you guys, that I almost I wanted to wake up my husband and I say, hey, just tie my hands, and because I feel like I'm losing it. I wanted to do something to myself,
yeah.
and it's crazy, but I passed all of those, and here I am today, and
Yes.
I call Max. It inspires me. And he was the one who, so all these things, but then look at me now. I'm here. I'm,
Yes.
sharing everything to you guys. And I know all my friends have been through a lot, so that's why I wanted to, I invited them here and share what they've been through, and I hope you're learning something from it. And so we are going to continue this next Monday. I'm sorry.
Yes, we'll see you again.
So yeah, there's so much that we need
This
to
is
talk
just
about
the introduction.
overcoming obstacles. So we'll see. I hope you will tune in. So for my advice for today, this week, it seems like the older we get, the harder it is to be in relationships with people who aren't our spouses. What do you call that? Or our kids. A lot of us get in the habit of telling our friends, I have a lot going on, as an instant reason why we didn't return their call, or can go out to lunch with them, or can stop, where am I? Or can stop, where am I? Or can stop to by to see them. And we say this without stopping to think that everyone has a lot going on. The person who called you or texted you probably has a lot going on. So remember
Right,
that.
yes.
They have bills and family and worries, or even maybe she's suffering from anxiety. That's why
Correct.
she's calling you. They made the choice to try and include you in their lives or be a part of yours. Pick up the phone, you guys,
Yes.
and be there for them.
Yes.
Be a friend.
Yes.
Do not ignore this just because you have a lot of things going on. We all have a lot of things going on, or you're too preoccupied to pick up the phone. One of my closest friend here in LA, because it's hard. We all live in the US,
Yes.
right? It's hard to pick up the phone,
Right, you're
and,
so
and
busy
you're
here,
so
yeah.
busy. But then again, have something like maybe like my close friend and I, we said, okay, when we text each other SOS, it means it's something. Pick up the phone and call me.
Yes.
Even if you're having sex with your husband, you're doing stuff, pick up the phone and answer.
Right.
Friends are huge aspects of our lives, and when they're out of balance, we can feel out of balance as
Correct.
well.
Right.
Never feel bad about taking a moment to try and realign or readjust yourself. Just like going to a chiropractor. Why do you go to a chiropractor? You
Just align your body.
so realign yourself. It's like your friendship, marriages, and your life. Make a vision board and see what you want your life to be and how you want to treat people for the next year, and apply that. Be sure to join us next time to continue this conversation and discuss overcoming obstacles. Thank you so much. And don't forget to give love to the next person you'll see today after watching the show. Cheers!
You're listening to Polished Women only on LA Talk Radio.
Bote na.